Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. What's up? I hope you're all doing well. Sometimes we get this uneasy feeling with certain people. Are they manipulating me? Or sometimes we realize that that's what just happened after being manipulated. And that's why in this video I'd like to explain how to recognize and understand manipulation, because that's often the hardest part of dealing with it. Firstly, the word manipulation can be used in very different ways, and it's rare that one word can have so many different meanings according to context. On the one side, it can mean something constructive, when you operate something, when someone is skillfully managing something, exerting control. On the other side, it can also refer to something deconstructive, when someone forces someone else to do something they don't want to do, when someone exerts control on someone else to maximize their own gain without considering the other person. And that is what this video is about. Manipulating in the sense of taking advantage of others. And I'd like to look at how we can recognize manipulation so that we can avoid being taken advantage of. The core of manipulation is someone acting in a way that aligns your behavior with their needs, in a way that is often forceful, hidden, and unfair. Forceful means they get you to do something and leave you no other choice. That means if you don't do this now, your situation will get even worse. Hidden means that instead of openly addressing their needs and starting a conversation with you, they try to get you to do what they want without you clearly noticing that you are actually mainly contributing to their needs. And unfair means that they may not even have the intention of contributing to your interests or needs at all. We might also call this selfish or being demanding. And one other thought I'd like to highlight before we dive into the different aspects of it is it's a dimension. It's not black and white. You rarely have someone who's 100% a manipulator or 0% manipulator. So on the one hand, you have convincing someone else to do something because you know that it's for their best interest. And if they knew all the facts, they would want to do this out of their own free choice. That would be convincing. On the other hand, we have manipulating. That means the person knows that the other person is never going to do this out of their own free will. At least it doesn't look like it, or maybe not to this extent. So I'm going to get them to do this anyway, even though they don't want it, and I know that. So because it's not black and white, and because we can't put it into boxes very easily of this is a manipulation and this is just convincing, it's important to know the signs of manipulation so that you can notice when manipulation is increasing in a relationship rather sooner than later. And by the way, this can happen in personal relationships and in business contexts. So here are 5 signs of manipulation. Sign number 1 is you're repeatedly pressured to overextend yourself. You're constantly going beyond your limits of time, energy, money, and other resources to keep this person satisfied. This may be because they don't notice your boundaries, or they don't notice that they're depleting you, or because they choose not to respect your boundaries. Whatever you do, it's never enough. They always want more. And if you do signal your boundaries, they will make you feel guilty about it. Or they may use other people to put pressure on you to keep giving. And in this way, you end up repeatedly doing things that you actually don't really want to do, or not to that extent at least. Sign number 2, relationships are transactions to this person. While people with manipulative behavior often don't hesitate to take a lot from others, they don't give much back in return. And when they do, it's often of a nature of a transaction. It's not based on mutual trust and support, but rather on the thought that I don't want to be in anyone's debt, or they may be calculating that they'll do something for you so that you'll be in their debt and they can ask something of you at a later point in time. Sign number 3, lying and bending the truth. People with manipulative behavior will blow things out of proportion, make things up, and really bend and distort the truth to fit their needs and to be able to come to the conclusion they want to come to. So when they tell you a story or their version of the truth, you can recognize some elements of the truth, but the way it's being put together is far from what everyone else remembers happened. And in the end, you end up feeling like you can't be honest with this person because you always have this thought in the back of your mind, will they distort this in the future? Will what I revealed be used against me at some point in time? Sign number 4, threats and blackmail. People who manipulate will use threats to get you to do what they want, to be in control. They will tell you, if you don't do this, I won't do that either. Or if you do this, then I will do this to you or myself. I will make your situation even worse. So they don't leave a free choice for you to decide what you want to do, but they force you into it by threats and blackmail. And sign number 5, the person is trying to keep you dependent. People who manipulate a lot try to keep others in that dependent relationship, that the other person will always keep giving to them, and they don't really consider that a relationship needs to be two-sided in order to work. They don't understand that in order for the relationship to work out long-term, personal or business, the interests of both parties need to be met. So, and because they don't realize that or understand the necessity of both parties having their needs fulfilled, they only consider keeping you dependent on them so their needs can keep being satisfied through you. You may have noticed that in the spirit of Carol Dweck's growth mindset, I tried to avoid using the word manipulator and rather said people with manipulative behavior. This is important to me because I don't believe in labeling someone as being something for the rest of their life, and always recognizing that anyone can change at any point in time. And also, people with manipulative behavior are not malicious. They usually grew up in a setting that taught them that the only way to really be successful is to be manipulative. They cannot imagine being more successful and more happy by having true win-win relationships and collaborations. Often their worldview legitimates manipulation. They may say things like, well, everyone in the world is being exploitive. Everyone is trying to exploit someone. And the only way that I'm going to get my needs fulfilled is if I partake in the exploitation and also become exploited myself. Obviously, that's not true, but because manipulators grew up in this world at some point in their life, they choose to behave like that. And what you may also notice is that people who manipulate a lot are people who often feel very empty inside. All this bending the truth and building up a facade to live behind actually really drains them. They feel depleted, and they've built their life on something insubstantial and on lies. So they lack substance and truth and real connection with others and feel often very empty. People who choose to manipulate often didn't learn that there's something as unconditional love or trust in relationships. That by definition of the relationship, people support each other. That you don't have to craft some scheme to get someone to do something for you. They haven't learned that giving can be more rewarding than receiving. They haven't learned that sometimes letting go of your plans and of your control is part of life, and it doesn't mean that you failed or are weak. They haven't learned that you don't have to reinvent reality to be loved for who you are, or to get someone to buy your product or services. They haven't learned that it's possible to get your needs met in a win-win situation, where the other person also gets their needs met. That there's something like a true symbiosis or working together, and that can even be more successful and is more successful than manipulating and exploiting. That if I want to get what I want, doesn't have to mean that someone else cannot get what they want. If you realize that you're in a relationship or in a setting where you're being manipulated and exploited, the first thing you can ask yourself is this something that can be changed? Is the person willing to do counseling, therapy, mediation to talk about the issues and problems that are there in the relationship or business collaboration? If you have the hunch that it's not changeable, then get out or reduce the contact as far as possible. A major difficulty with leaving relationships or settings in which you're being manipulated or exploited is that because of the dependency that's been created by the manipulative person, it is factually hard to get out. So in any case, it is probably very helpful if you look for someone, a friend, anyone who can support you, who can help you make sense of the situation, who can help you find strategies to get out of that situation. It will be tough. It will be connected with short-term loss and difficulties and pain, but consider that going through this difficult phase will allow you to build true relationships in the future that are not just a sham security, but a real relationship of trust and mutual support that have a true security. Also, people who stay in these kind of dynamics usually adopt the same behavior. So it can actually even change your own way of behaving in relationships and make you more manipulative if you stay around manipulative people. And remain aware of these dynamics and signs of manipulation so that you won't be exploited or manipulated in the first place or again in the future. If there was something in this video for you to take away, please leave a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. I hope you join me again for the next video on this channel, which is all about self-leadership. I upload a video every Friday and look forward to being in contact with you again. Take care. Bye.